Your favorite fat boys.
Man, what it's like, bitch.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite fat boy, Jerron.
Stefan, a.k.a. Mayhem, a.k.a. Mr. Offensive Tweet, a.k.a. Oh, damn, I guess this is canceled now.
Yeah.
We had a nice run.
Oh. Well, you know, our 30-something subscribers are going to be disappointed.
No, they won't.
You're right, they won't. So today we're going to talk about the topic of cancel culture. And, you know, saying inappropriate things on the internet and why people get offended by them.
Right. I mean, first and foremost, before we go into cancel culture, I'm going to just say cancel culture is not a goddamn thing.
And explain how so.
So it's the idea that, you know, you say something offensive. And, you know, the whole concept of cancel culture is mainly coming from comedians complaining about backlash for the shit they say. But let's look at any prime example of, you know, like a Dave Chappelle who says some very trite shit about the LGBT community and still has sold out shows and $50 million contract deals with Netflix. He ain't getting canceled.
No, he's not. He's not.
And so many others who, you know, big comedians who say a lot of offensive shit and they ain't getting canceled. Bill Burr says offensive shit all the time.
He does.
He ain't getting canceled. He's still doing shows. He's still on talk shows, making tons of money. Where's the cancellation?
Well, I think it's the idea of maybe cancel somebody or maybe silencing their voice to a certain extent. So I mean, I don't know he's a good example, but Louis C.K. He didn't say anything necessarily inappropriate, but he was doing inappropriate stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a completely different situation.
True. So he in his stand up when he recently got back on doing stand up, he said that you know he lost almost $30 million that year.
Yeah, he might have lost $30 million that year, but how many more million did he make?
True.
That's it. Again, and it seems to me like we're conflating cancel culture or, you know, with consequences.
Right.
Because that's what it is. It's like comedians complaining about there being consequences about the shit that they say. Right.
But they're a comedian. Their job is to poke fun and stuff. If you get offended, then, and not to say, oh, well, but.
See, that's the thing about it. Somebody's always going to be offended. This isn't something new. Right. And people like being offended. That's why these really offensive comics still have sold out shows. People still like offensive jokes.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I will say this to the end of time. I don't care what kind of ist you are. Misogynist, racist, sexist, whatever the ist is, if you're funny, people will give you a pass. So if you say some racist shit and you find that you get a lot of backlash for it, and it's a racist ass joke and you're getting a lot of backlash for it, it probably just wasn't fucking funny.
So let's go into our example of Shane Gillis.
Right.
So Shane Gillis he's a comedian. He was hired to be part of be a cast member of the new season of SNL. But before he even recorded a skit or any episode, he was fired because they brought up some offensive. I don't think it was tweets, but a podcast he had some offensive remarks regarding being homophobic and racist. So they let him go.
Right. See, and here's the thing about that: people saying they're getting offended over jokes. I watched the clips of the podcast. Them some weird jokes. I was waiting for the punchline. I was waiting for the build up.
Right.
He just said some racist shit about Asians. And it'll be different if this was some shit that he said, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. This was last year.
Ooh.
A year ago. So you take with that with what you will. So first and foremost, we as a culture, it's the newer generation. They're going to have to decide how far back can you go and still punish somebody for some shit they said. Because granted, I will say that I don't want some average Joe getting his life destroyed and his livelihood destroyed because of some shit he said when he was 13.
Yeah, I get that. If you're like in your early 20s, a teenager, and you said some fucked up shit on Twitter or whatever, that should be held accountable. You should be held accountable for those things. But I think you get the person
not so far in the future that it ruins your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, we as a culture, and it's going to be the newer generation because they're growing up in a world where privacy is no longer a thing.
Yeah.
So personal privacy is no longer a thing. Everybody has a camera. Everybody is tweeting and recording and uploading everything that they do every minute of their goddamn life. So we, as a culture, and the younger generation are going to have to decide how far back is acceptable to flag somebody on some shit they said.
Yeah, I think a year removed is not long enough to say that person might have grown from those.
Which in the case of Shane McGillis, a fucking year ago.
Yeah, so I saw some stand up he did that was like floating around on Facebook, and he talked about he had some black joke in there, but wasn't like nothing like offensive. He was just talking about a black person, like somebody he knew. And I didn't find nothing offensive. I thought it was decent. It was funny, but
I've seen some of his stuff, and for me, he just wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason that SNL, they even came out and said it, that they were even hiring him was because he was more conservative, and they wanted to get more conservative viewership.
Is that
they wanted to increase their viewership, increase their money. That was the only reason he was getting hired in the first place.
Yeah, I read that too. So I like, okay, that makes sense. They're trying to bring in an audience,
right?
And because
increase their revenue, increase their money,
right? It's a business at the end of the day. So, and then you got people sticking up for him as well, saying, like, oh, well, you shouldn't get offended by it. But if it's something that is damaging enough, and again, he shouldn't be hired for the job.
It's like, and the thing, private companies do have the right. If you are messing with their bottom line, they have the right to let you go. Say, freedom of speech is not freedom of consequences. That people need to understand that. And that's exactly what it is. It's a consequence. And a lot of times when I see this cancel culture thing, is these big comedians complaining about consequences for the shit that they say.
Right. And I think also you have to understand that, people should understand that when you're in a comedy show, anything is on limits. No, off limits. So you gotta understand that. You get offended, then I won't say, oh, well, sorry, but maybe you should maybe understand what is making you offended by it. Yeah,
and even still, again, these more offensive comics, they still sell out shows. People still, as much as people will scream about, oh, I'm offended, we got to look at what's the population of people who are offended. Because right now, the internet gives everybody a voice. A lot of times it's just the vocal minority who are extremely vocal about being offended, so people react to it. But it's not really a lot of people. Because again, go back to Dave Chappelle and, his jokes about the LGBTQ community, which is, the one joke that he did, which I just thought wasn't funny because I done heard it so many goddamn times when they talk about transgender. And it's like, what if I just one day felt like being insert thing that's something random and completely different?
Right.
An Apache helicopter or Dave Chappelle is a Chinese man.
Right.
It's a tired joke. It's not funny. So if somebody wanted to get offended by that, it's just not funny.
Get offended by not being funny.
Right.
Not by making a point and it is funny.
And then the thing about it is that this is not something that's new. Comedians have been complaining about the sensitivity of the public for fucking as long as there's been comedy.
That's very, very true.
Fucking Mel Brooks, Lisa Lampanelli, get any offensive comment. They've been complaining about the sensitivity of the PC culture for fucking years.
Yeah, yet they still tell jokes though. Or they still write, work in Hollywood, they still tell jokes. So
with the exception of Lisa Lampanelli, she retired from doing comedy and she's doing a life coaching and counseling type stuff because she's looking at the world and looking back at her past self. And saying you know what, I was spitting a lot of vitriol. Because a lot of comedians want to be stuck in one way. You jokes have to evolve with the culture.
Right.
Because culture is ever evolving. So nobody wants to be stuck back and, want to go back to the good old days. Fuck that. So if your jokes can't evolve with the culture, then you probably should find a new profession.
I can understand that. I definitely expect her, evolving and, finding a new purpose in life. Instead of just, doing the same old, spitting out rigmarole.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not one to say that comedians should get a pass for saying offensive shit, but your offensive shit better be funny.
I think I agree with that. I think like a lot. We've heard a lot of shit like ooh, and done that, but we also laugh behind because it is funny,
right?
Now if it's like you said, it's funny, we give it a pass. So
I mean, if you say a bunch of racist jokes all the time and they just not funny, maybe you're just a racist.
That too. So
if somebody gets offended by it, maybe you should probably take an introspective look at yourself.
Right. You look at Family Guy. They always say some racist stuff in there a lot of times, but it's hitting. Well, I'll say it's out there with humor.
Right.
So
again, I said, regardless of whatever your ist is, as long as you're funny, people will give you a pass.
So are we going to give a pass to Gina Rodriguez because she said the N-word of a day, and that had Black Twitter all up in the uproar.
I don't even understand it. When I hadn't heard about it until you presented it to me, and then when I looked at it, she was singing a Fuji song. The word "nigga" is in the song,
right? So to put it in perspective for everybody out there, so Gina Rodriguez, the actor on the lead role in Jane the Virgin. If y'all ever watched that, I didn't. She said, CW. She was singing the Fuji song and said "nigga" in the song, and it was very, very harmless. Like she's singing a song that a lot of people know,
right?
And she apologized about it. She's like, it's a song I grew up on, something I knew as a kid, and she was singing along. That's all she was doing, and she was getting her hair done. So I don't know if I'm about a Latino hairdresser or a black hairdresser.
I mean, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, but she's on the song and she apologized for it. A lot of people didn't like the apology. You can take that.
I mean, I can understand because, she apologized for people, if you got offended. That's always a cop-out apology.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, just don't apologize at all.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that, you presented like, she Latino, she can't say that word. But when could Latinos not say that word? So,
let's go down the list of Latinos who has said that word.
I mean, like every Latino rapper, Cardi B, Big Pun, Fat Joe, Noriega. We could just go down and down the list. They say the word nigga. Because, I mean, the last time I checked, the people who were oppressing black folks and calling them derogatory names and creating derogatory stereotypes in the early ages of the building of the American nation were of Hispanic origin. That's just me.
Right, I can remember listening to Fat Joe's music and Noriega and them saying "nigga," and like we know they are their Hispanic culture, but like them saying that I didn't get offended by it, nor did I really care. That I'm like, well, shit, I'm pretty sure the white men don't Hispanic nigga, black nigga, whatever, you a nigga.
Like my thing about it is like at that point when we the people jumping down Gina Rodriguez's throat for saying a word that's in a song, who gets a pass? And two, if we don't want other people saying the word, why are we putting it in songs that go, that we want to go mainstream, that want to reach a broad audience?
Because that's what's popular. Saying nigga is cool.
Is it?
It gotta, I think to other races in a sense, it gotta be for them to, want to sing the song. And I like your point about.
I don't know if that's just nigga is cool. It's a cool song. It just happens to have the word nigga in it.
That too. I like your point about you shouldn't put that word in the song if you want to go mainstream because these white kids, whoever these kids are, they are not black. They are going to these concerts. They are listening to this music and buying it.
Right, and the word is there, and they're saying it. And when they singing the song with you, listening to you singing the song with you, they're saying the word because it's right there.
Right,
it becomes just a part of the vocabulary. And so so again, who do we give a pass to use the word?
I mean, I'm cool with the Hispanics not saying it.
Just the Hispanics?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody else.
I mean, well,
They said, well, so we look at the spectrum. As soon as you start to get further away from brown, you can't use the word.
yeah.
So Asians and white people, you out.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't say that because I told you about this girl that I used to talk to a few years back. She grew up in the hood in Baltimore, lived in a black neighborhood, damn near exclusively dated black guys. Mm-hmm. And one day we're talking and she's talking about her baby daddy and she's like, "And let me tell you what this nigga did." And the first thing is like, she was just so comfortable saying nigga right in front of this black man.
Right.
But then I started to think about it. And then she was talking. I was like, "Oh, she didn't grow up in Baltimore, in the hood, around black folks." And then she's like, and guess what else this nigga did? And I'm like, "Yeah, what did this nigga do?" I'm like, she's one with the culture. Can she get a pass?
Yeah, she do get a pass. So I guess we gotta do this then. If you want to say the word nigga, you gotta submit an application. We gotta do a background check to the Black Caucus. We gotta check. We gotta run a background check. We gotta check your thoroughness of rap songs or hip hop history. Can you come to the cookout? We gotta check all that.
Right. You don't make that retarded ass potato salad with the raisins in it.
Bam. No grips in that shit either.
So, and then after your application is reviewed, we will come back to you with a verdict on whether or not you can say the word nigga. Most applications will not get through.
It's a 3 to 6 month process.
Because again, for me, the use of the word nigga, it's more so about context than it is about the word. Because I can look at you and say, "Yeah, that's my nigga right there," or I can look at you and say, "This cheap nigga." Context matters.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. Context is everything. I've heard white people say. I've heard white people say nigga, and I've heard white people say nigga, and I think it's in one is in the context, but also too, does that person who is saying it, like, I guess you got to look at the upbringing. Like, say you let
right. Is it coming from from a racist background? Is it meant to be a derogatory racist term? I mean, shit, I call damn near everybody nigga. Because for me, if I'm calling you nigga, I'm tend to be using it as an insult. I mean, one guy that I know, and he was a white guy, and he was talking. I was like, nigga, and he was like, "What? I'm white." I was like, "You being white don't stop you from being a nigga."
Right? You doing some dumb shit.
You doing some dumb shit. So again, for me, if I'm directly calling you nigga, I'm insulting you. So you don't matter what your complexion is, you can still be a nigga.
Right. I guess the best thing the best policy to go about it is, if you're afraid you're going to offend someone, don't say it at all.
Right.
The N word anyway. That is, as like I said, Spanish, Latinos. I don't see, like you said, Spanish Harlem and Harlem. They right next door to each other. They intermingle. So I'm pretty sure those that live there are, they say the N word all the time. That's their part of their culture.
Right. Again, like I said, and the white girl that I used to deal with, she grew up in the hood of Baltimore,
right.
Surrounded by
Dundalk.
black folks. No, not Dundalk. The hood in Baltimore.
The hood,
surrounded by black folks who used the word nigga constantly. That was just a part of her culture, a part of her vocabulary. Are we to tell her because her skin complexion that we had to deny the culture that she was brought up in?
But no, I get that because I know I went to school with white kids and Asian kids, and they would be so immersed in our culture that I don't say they felt comfortable saying nigga. They might have did in their own time, who knows? But they got into the culture of hip hop and whatever else of that, and they listen to the music, so they're gonna feel it. They've been around us all the time, so they comfortable. They're not probably with us more than they probably with their own people. So
right,
if it happened to come up, be like, "Well, I've known this nigga for a long time, so go ahead now,"
Yeah, I mean, I've given several white folks a pass. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, I won't get offended by your use of the term, but maybe somebody else will. And I mean, I guess it's just like with anything, any type of navigation, you got to realize where you are in the situation you're in.
Exactly. So I think too, we also in a really weird time and space where you can see Gina singing this song, and it's a Fuji song. She doesn't mean any harm by it, but people are like, you should say that word at all. And I can understand somebody saying that,
right? Yeah,
but to say but to trash her, to me is like not necessary, because it's like you see what context is in. It's not like she's arguing with a black person and said, "Oh, you nigga, you ain't shit." Da 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 da. She's singing a song.
Right.
And it wasn't like she got like extra with like nigga in the song. She's going with the flow of the song. So
like, turn to her black hairdresser, nigga,
right.
take it easy.
Then they'd be like, hold up, bitch, this ain't for you.
Right. I mean, then throw up a fit.
And I think also too, I think it's just a disdain that some black people hold against her, because there's a video clip of her. I was telling you about the other day, like, I don't know how long this was ago, but interviewer was interviewing her and another black woman about a movie they were in, and was asking about the black women not getting paid enough in Hollywood. And she said, and she jumped in the concept like, Latino women don't get paid that much either. And a lot of people were like, wait a minute, like, it's not about you. But they only said Latino or women, period. But it was a direct question to the black woman,
right?
About the pay disparities in Hollywood, but amongst black women. So they took it as like, she was trying to undercut her and make it about women when it was about black women.
And that's a weird thing that I've always had taken a bit of an issue with, is that whole idea of, okay, this is the focus on me, even though we fight in the same fight, bitch, stay in your place. Because, that's the same thing like what happened during, the early, movement of the suffragist movement for women to get the right to vote. I mean, it was all of these white women, standing up like, yeah, we want to give women the right to vote. And then black women, it was like, no, you black. Stay. So I'm like, why we want to sit people on the side who fight in the same fight as us? We all fight in the same enemy. Why the hell do I not want to include you because I want the focus to only be on me? We fight in the same enemy.
That's a great point. That's a really, really great point. And that we on the same boat. Let's get it together, not separate.
Right.
That's probably a bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying.
So getting upset with her because she, saying that, okay, yeah, you asked the black woman, but she's like, okay, but Latinos ain't getting paid a lot either. You can ask me the same question and getting mad at her. It's like, hey, we fighting the same fight. Why are we getting pissed off at each other for?
I feel like people get mad about the littlest things, and it might be a reason to be upset, but I think it's taken out of context. Like, I have no problem with speaking up for herself and her community. Maybe it was just maybe the time was all wrong.
I mean, it could have been a timing issue. I didn't see the clip, so I don't know.
Right. I think it's more so just the timing of it, And I think it's kind of like, you can piggyback and add to it, Latino women as well. But I think the timing of it was all wrong.
And the whole idea about this being like a cancel culture, outrage culture, this kind of shit isn't new.
No.
This has been the thing in human history since humans were able to communicate with each other. Oh, you did some shit I don't like? Well, I'm going to make sure that when you in an awkward situation, I'm going to bring it up.
Oh, people love being petty.
That's just the way of human nature. So to say like this, the only difference is that now that everybody has a platform and everybody is so interconnected that we can all, so if I get mad at you and somebody else get mad at you, we can all group together and be mad at you together.
Right. All it takes is one.
So it's no different than it's ever been. Only difference is that everybody has a platform now.
Right. Everybody get on that Twitter.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. Everybody get on the Twitter and they can say, I hate this person, or I don't like this person say, or they offended me. Like they were blowing up Kevin Hart for trashing him before he was doing not an interview, but he was on a show called The Shot that LeBron James has, and they had him, some other people, and Lil Nas X. So Lil Nas X came out before the show. He came out and said he was gay, and they were talking about that. And the way Kevin had said, so what? You're gay. Who cares? People got offended by saying that, by him saying that, and like, oh, he's trying to undermine him coming out. Like they don't understand. He doesn't understand how powerful it is for him to come out.
I mean, the thing about it is that, we're not at that point, but we kind of honestly really should be at the point where somebody coming out of the closet is like, okay, yeah, nigga, it's Tuesday. We're not at that point, but honestly, we really should be at this point.
When I thought about it, I was like, if somebody said, I have gay friends, but they never came out to me and said they were gay. Like it was something that was already understood and known. So I was thinking like, what if somebody came to me and say, hey, I'm gay? Would I say, I don't care? Is that hurtful to them? Would he want some more supportive response?
I mean, I've had people come out to me, and then my response was, okay. and they appreciated it that I didn't, make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, because if you cool, great, fine. I still love you. I'm still support you. I think that is still that in that expression itself. Not saying nothing at all is probably hurtful, but I don't think nobody's going to, hopefully nobody carries it like that. So,
I mean, again, like I said, we're not there, but we should be at the point where somebody coming out of the closet is like, oh, and the sun is out today too.
Right. It shouldn't be a big deal, but today it's still a big deal, and we understand why. So,
yeah. So, like I said, for the life of me, people who are screaming about cancel culture is not a thing. Outrage culture is not a thing. That's just society. If
you're upset, you might have a reason to be upset, but I would say just don't take it out of context, or look at the context is in, and then make the call from there. Yeah. Again, context matters. Context, regardless of how upset you are about what somebody says, context matters. Yes. So get your panties out a bunch. I mean, that's all I got to say. I don't think no more to say about that. People are going to get mad what they want to get mad about. They have the platform. It's easy to be vocal about what you're happy, what you're mad about. And a lot of times, what I see on Twitter is that people will show this thread of whatever's going on, like whether it be a funny video or something that people are mad about. And then you'll see like a tweet down, since you're here, follow my YouTube page. Since you're here, listen to my SoundCloud page. So it's like you're doing this just to generate traffic. I mean, I ain't mad at traffic. Are you doing that? No, I ain't got time for all that. Top of that. I ain't got time to be doing that petty bullshit. Get the angry folks on the page. If we really let off, we would have some angry niggas. That ain't not a bad idea. That may not be a bad idea. So what y'all mad about, let me know and I'll tweet it. Make y'all more upset. I mean, I will create a social media account just so I can piss you off. So I think that's it. I think we've covered it enough. And, we can beat this dead horse all night and we ain't never going to come to any definitive conclusions. Right. Y'all figure it out much yourselves. So, as always, hit us up on our Gmail account. Check us out on YouTube. Listen to us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Music Play. I believe iTunes is pretty much officially dead. We'll figure something else out for you, you Apple users, other than the other platforms that y'all can get onto. So, and that's our show. All right, peace out. Thanks for listening. Peace.